We consider, evaluate, and postulate everything. Welcome to Capacity Cast with your hosts Michael and Scott. Let's get started.
We're talking about AI, automation, and jobs, or lack thereof, in the future.
Yep.
I happen to have sitting on the table we're recording this on 2 books. One is written by you and it's sci-fi.
Yeah,
which
Creator Sky.
has
Check it
something
out
to
on
do
Amazon.
Yeah, it is. Seriously, recently updated. It actually has to do with jobs a little bit too.
Yeah, definitely the government is very different in that book, that universe, and it relates to a lot of the stuff is done by machines, and people, a large group, are basically consumers, and they don't do much besides consume things.
Wall-E style.
Yeah. What's the other book you got there?
The other book is more about today. It's called Janesville, an American Story.
Okay.
And it's basically a very long piece of journalism about the city of Janesville, Wisconsin, which had a GM plant, like a big one, for a long time, and it was shut down about 8 years ago and just destroyed the economy.
Yeah, that seems to happen, especially here in Rockford. You know, there used to be a large machining industry, which still exists, but it's a lot smaller than it used to be.
I know someone who owns a manufacturing company in Rockford. They employ about, maybe 100 people. And to run a machine now is pretty much a programming job. I mean, there just is not a lot of entry-level work in that field.
I won't say what company it is, but they're pushing to do a fully automated process, and I've helped them on the software side a little bit. So that's basically, they say, here, make this computer, and then it takes all the tools, it does everything. It's a full process. So moving forward, that automation is big.
I think, we both work on software, and we know that's coming. So just to talk about, matter of degree, I really don't see a difference personally between, say, getting most of the way, getting all the way with automation.
Okay.
I mean, what's the difference between 90% and 100% unemployment? Not that it would, be necessary to get there, but...
What do you mean, what's the difference?
Well, I mean, it's...
To society? Or?
Yeah, it just seems like, when you talk about automation...
Well, it's been happening forever. You have a farm that uses people to go and till it, but then you have a machine that does so much more what they need, and then it keeps moving down the process. So it's always happened.
That's true. Yeah, and people have always retrained and specialized, I guess.
Yeah.
It is a great... Yeah, okay. I was a little premature there. Because, if you look at... I think we went from something like 50% of the population farming in the U.S. to 2%.
Yeah.
And we're still feeding everybody.
Making more than previously.
Yeah. We're now feeding several nations.
Yeah.
Small nations in addition to our own.
Yeah.
So I guess we could hope that continues to happen.
I think it's going to scale exponentially. So there will be I don't know if I should say very few jobs for humans, people, but moving forward, if we say 50 years from now, it's going to be totally different.
It does seem like we're going to get to where you don't have to buy anything made by a person. Like that's going to happen. You can if you want to.
Yeah.
There's always going to be people making handmade things and whatnot.
There's an appeal to that.
Yes. I guess how sustainable that is will depend on what people do, and they don't have to work in manufacturing anymore.
So let's talk about the largest one. It's automating vehicles, cars. Moving forward, I've seen YouTube videos. I think it's called Cruise Automation. They're working with Chevrolet, and they have videos in California, which is some tiny, narrow streets. I think it was San Francisco, and these automated cars are navigating really extreme situations, not weather-related, but human people walking around, cars parked everywhere.
Things that make humans nervous.
Yeah, and it looks really good. So I don't think there's that much time before we get real full automation. The difference is that once it's there, it'll probably take quite a while for it to fully take over because people don't have the money to go and buy a car.
I think it'll happen in trucking first, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's so much simpler to drive on the highway than anything else.
Yeah.
Because right now you have the long haul companies, then you have kind of the regional and then the last mile companies.
Yeah.
What if you just had the last mile and then basically automated transit?
That's going to be big and fast. Like you said, that's going to happen quick.
And that's a big job sector too.
Yeah.
I think more people.
I know of at least one or two that are truckers. They should be looking for other options. machines.
They should. It's a bit scary because trucking...
There's no support structure right now for them.
Right.
So, yeah.
Imagine if you're an owner-operator and not only do you lose your job, but your asset becomes not worth very much.
The truck itself, yeah.
You got a big lease on that or not car payment, but truck payment, big truck payment.
Another big one is the lawyer industry, if you want to call it an industry.
Sure.
I think that's going to be automated relatively quickly because law is, there's a lot of variation. You'll have to have some deep learning and to make decisions on that. But maybe more of the clerical related law work.
Yes.
Like starting a new business.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that can be automated pretty quickly.
A lot of the discovery work has already not been automated start to finish, but you can take a 5-foot stack of medical documents and you can digitize and search them all.
Yeah.
It would have been multiple people spending weeks before to find the right keywords.
Which is, in a way, there's positives and negatives because the medical industry is so overpriced. Hopefully automation will make it cheaper, but who knows?
Or it'll just drive their malpractice insurance costs through the roof. It's so easy to litigate.
Yeah, that's true.
Threaten to litigate. You're seeing something with legal as the value of kind of that more routine work falls because it's cheaper to do and easier, more widespread.
Yeah, a computer can figure out all of the, I can't think of the word, that it takes in previous court cases and then decides based on those.
Yes.
The computer can have a very much larger percentage of success in that. Even currently, I've seen things where they have a higher percentage compared to lawyers in that situation.
Finding interesting.
Yeah.
So that just sort of, I guess you still need a licensed lawyer to do work, but you might need...
They'll probably verify it, and that's it.
Yeah.
Say, oh, yep, the computer's right.
So you'd say a team of what, you might have on a big case a team of 20 lawyers. Now you have 3
going through documents, doing all that, writing pages of legalese. The computer can do it.
It's going to be... it seems like it's going to have a strange effect on wages. Certainly there's a group of law school graduates who are going to be caught where they thought they had a good job, and they've already had that issue a little bit, even without, not because of automation, just because of pressure on prices. And maybe they'll kind of learn from that and study the pace, whereas, I don't know, pharmacy school, just imagine, a lot of what a pharmacist does is to make sure that drugs don't have bad interactions.
Okay.
That you could take these 3 and not kill yourself.
That sounds like a perfect thing for a computer.
Easily. Easily automatable.
Even now, without deep learning.
Yes. And so, I don't know, pharmacy school is seen as kind of popular and it's kind of a sure thing to have a decent job.
Okay.
And so, some people could be stuck. That kind of concerns me. Not because they need to retrain, but because of the massive amounts of student loan debt that they...
Do you see any fields that are not likely to get automated?
Well, I've heard that bartending and pipe organ service and installation.
I don't know about bartending. If the physical side of androids
Android bartender?
go up, I could see that. I could see that being a thing.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
technically, my book has that exact thing in it. So
that's true. Yeah. I don't know. I guess maybe. So you're right. I guess you could have a machine mix drinks, but you're still. It seems like you might still need someone
artistic
there.
Mixtures. Yeah,
and just to provide the human relations side of it.
I think art, creative things will always be something for humans. You might have computer versions, but a human will most likely prefer this might be wrong in the future, but most likely prefer a creative thing done by another person.
Sure.
So you've got movies, scripts, which I heard from someone recently that they're using computers to provide information for the writers just for, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this in the story. Or the computer gives them a big list of potential things. Wow. And it's a thing. It's a real thing.
I know that what is his name? The man who wrote Million Little Pieces, and he started a publishing company. He published I Am Number 4 and some of these other YA novels. But they basically came up with a system where he's hiring anonymous writers, and they basically manufacture the book.
Oh, wow.
And it's all a system, just not only for writing the actual words and chapters, but to decide what to write and to target it and market it to make it basically a guaranteed success. And well, yeah, they've got a movie deal. If they can do that with basically turning a creative effort into an assembly line, we know from actual assembly lines the next
it
step.
Works.
Yeah, computers can do most of that.
Do that. All right, so maybe not so much the creative, but hopefully, I think some people will prefer human creative things. Maybe making a desk by hand will, there'll still be a market for that. It might be small, but it'll be there.
I think that the more when this happens, the more people can do live or with some sort of direct communication, the better. Not just writing a story for somebody, but maybe writing it while they're there, or documenting writing it,
drawing their face there in the carnivals and such, where you've got an artist right there doing it.
Yeah,
but then there might just be a computer right there doing it, or an Android.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, maybe people will find it more fun to put their money into that.
It'd be novel for the moment, but then that'll change eventually.
Yeah.
So anything with human to human contact can be a potential industry, I think, moving forward. But even computer programming, there's a lot of repetitious parts to the actual writing of code, which will definitely be an automated thing in the future. Maybe not so much, at least to start, the design aspect of it, because it'll be a person doing that for the moment.
Sure.
Can you think of any points you want to add to that?
Well, I do find designs a kind of a moving target where you can sort of make programs that emulate it, but then
you talk to someone, you get specs, you adjust things, you give them ideas as you go. So not necessarily a good thing for a computer, even a deep learning one.
No, but definitely the basics of just basic kinds of functions and classes. With C# programming, ReSharper already can do several, like 40, 50 functions where if you write it wrong, it'll basically fix it for you.
Okay.
Just stuff like that. And so I'm sure that could become 4,000 common functions pretty easily.
Yeah, I think moving forward, the generalistic AI will be the huge turning point. Now, if we ever really get that, we'll see. But it's a potential thing down the line where everything will be potentially automated with that generalistic AI, but then there's some dangers involved with that type of AI.
Yes.
Besides that, I think each piece of the puzzle, like you said, with the trucking, will be automated by itself relatively quickly. There can be so many things related to that. Even Steam, the Valve, the company, they manufacture their controllers in a place in the United States, but it's almost all automated. It's machines doing almost every single step of the process, which looks really cool. There's a video out there that you can watch the thing be built, and it's pretty amazing. So that's good in a way for our society because we're a higher technology society.
Yes.
And if we continue to push forward against all of the fallback or fighting against it, it'll be good for us eventually.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah, and if we, not to get into politics, but it seems like we might be going through this globally a period of more, economic nationalism and things like that.
Yeah.
And if we do, in the past, it's made things really expensive and hard to manufacture in countries.
Yeah.
But we'll have such different tools this time. It could go much better for people. So that would be one upside. Yeah,
it's a bad thing when the politics of trying to hold dearly to things like the oil industry, they fight tooth and nail to keep it around and keep these people with jobs. If it's not viable, if it turns unviable, then you just have to let it go and move to solutions that really make sense.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that could involve changing tastes in some way, consumer preferences.
People, they're hard to change, I guess. That'll be the largest problem moving forward. Let's just talk a little bit on the guaranteed income or whatever.
Oh, sure. Universal basic
income.
Yes.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
I'm very skeptical to be pulled off without some of that sweet asteroid mining money, because it's basically 100% tax rate, and that's a tough thing. But humans have had in the past times when they basically obtained a ton of wealth discovering oil, things like that.
Yeah.
Just makes everybody around it rich.
Yep.
And we could certainly have that happening in the space or something else.
Yeah, I think it's a necessity moving forward, as again in the book. When you take the menial things away from a person, you give them the opportunity to expand and go grasp towards things that are larger than themselves, and gives them the humanity as a race more opportunity to expand.
Yes.
Space is a huge thing that I think we need to really get to. forward, because there's always the chance of humanity being destroyed by so many things. Asteroids, of course, is the big one, but then you've got gamma ray bursts and depleting Earth's resources completely, which is an option.
Black out the sun,
the sun expanding,
which
which is quite a ways away, but that's always a thing.
Self-inflicted injuries.
Yeah, so there are a lot of huge problems for humanity moving forward, or things just that we should work on. And taking away that, you look back in time where you have the hunter-gatherers and things, and then they eventually switched to farming, which they gave them more time to get into the Renaissance period or whatever, which went after that. You have the growth of art and things like that from humanity. So moving forward, I think if we do really, really, really automate things, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that would be, and hopefully we'd figure out. I'm sure we'll have ways to experiment different kinds of groups that could innovate in different ways within that. I suppose. But I do think I'm not convinced. I know automation will save time. I'm not convinced it'll make everyone rich necessarily. But we'll see.
Well, I don't think the concept of rich will be a thing.
Well, that's true. Yeah. I guess it depends. It depends on how the.
I know that sounds very communist, but
no, I know what you mean, though.
That's not my goal. So
if machines can be at a low cost maintained and they make everything we need, then why would you
the necessities should hopefully be very out there and available to everyone.
That's a good point.
I don't know if the Earth will have enough resources for that to make it viable, but hopefully it'll be a good starting point that we can move on to higher goals as a species.
Makes sense. Well, let's hope that goes well.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Capacity Cast. You can hear more episodes at capacitycast.com.